Oh, hello. Oh, damn. I fell asleep in this chair for like 6 months. Sorry about that, I guess. Now, some more keen-eyed, eagle-eyed viewers may realize that this video is, well, it's different from the rest. At least out of the videos I've already loaded. It's not a tribute. I mean, it kind of is, because there's kind of a bit of it that is a tribute sort of thing. But it's more of a commentary thing, I guess. It's not really related to Batman either, other than that it's about another superhero. So I guess if you want to relate it to that, you can. But don't worry, I still love Batman, obviously, and have plenty of videos scripted and planned about him or involving him in some way. But since Marvel Spider-Man 2 has been getting a bunch more marketing and way more press, and factoring how much I love Spider-Man just as much as Batman, I thought it would be a good time to talk about the symbiote. Because Venom as a whole is equally, if not more popular than Spider-Man now. Basically every single Marvel character in the Marvel mythos has worn the suit at some point. He's actually so popular that 74-year-old Toomer, or as idiots like to call him, Avi Arad, forced Sam Raimi to ruin Spider-Man 3 by including Venom in it.
Yeah, why'd I have to punish you?
So, with Spider-Man 3 being a mess, and the Venom movies continuing to be just a shit show
In the wind.
that assassinate Venom's entire character, let's just say Venom hasn't had the best time when it comes to mainstream media. And seeing another iteration of the story on the horizon that's basically mainstream, I mean, games are pretty mainstream now, it has me very excited, but also kind of worried, because of the pretty bad track record this character has now. And the direction they seem to be going with it, with what little we know, is a little questionable. So before we get into the philosophical shit, which I definitely have a degree in, I thought we would talk about just a couple theories that people have been throwing out there about this game. Starting off with a theory I think is kind of fucking stupid. I'm sure if you watch this video, you've probably seen this, or hell, you might even fucking believe it. Venom could be Peter Parker in this game. It's something you would say if you're a fucking stupid asshole. Sorry, Caboose. You're not a stupid asshole. It's a reasonable theory, I guess. I watch most of your videos. I really like you, man. But like with the socks on, so it's not like kind of weird. But anyone who thinks Peter Parker, the responsible, lovable, outgoing person, would give in to the symbiote, you know, the things that eat people, you know, tears people apart, throws guts everywhere. In my opinion, this theory already has a huge plot hole in it that I've kind of pointed out lightly there. The plot hole itself is kind of created by a misconception of a lot of people in the community, especially new people, or people who don't read the comics have. And that's that the symbiote can basically just switch people and make them evil. And I completely understand there's stories where Peter does embrace the symbiote. There's that one comic, I can't remember the name of right now, that came out recently. It's interesting, but there's a reason why it's an alternate timeline or alternate story. Because it would never happen. The symbiote doesn't just like turn you evil, it manipulates feelings you already have, right? And I don't know about you, but I don't think Peter Parker would ever have the temptation or the feeling to chomp on someone's fucking skull. That motherfucker was made of some kind of pizza, oh my god. So, just to like end off this theory and why I kind of hate it. Plot hole, main reason, Peter would never ever succumb to the symbiote. His whole character's about, you know, getting back up and being responsible with the powers he has. And that's mainly the reason the entire Venom plot, I guess you could call it trope now, because it's been done so many times. But that's why that plot kind of exists. It's just another hurdle Peter needs to get over and put his uncle's words to use, you know? Not giving into this temptation of power and greed. That's usually why he gives the symbiote up, because he realizes this thing is addictive. He's given into all these temptations that he shouldn't be giving into. He's hurting his friends, he's hurting criminals more. And worst of all, he's dancing like a fucking idiot. And his hair fucking sucks. Originally, Venom didn't even have a voice. He wasn't a character, he was just an alien suit that made people give in to their anger and their desires. But obviously, recent comics have kind of given into what the movies and shows have done and made him his own quirky little character, which to a degree can defeat the whole purpose of the story in general. Like, it still works, but it kind of takes something away to add something new to it that is pretty fun. It's like, originally Peter was going to use his powers for fame and glory in wrestling, or even in the original comics he went on a TV show for a couple of episodes. But he realizes when Ben dies that it's basically his fault. His irresponsibility and not stopping that thief led to that thief killing his uncle. And he follows his uncle's last words and doesn't give in to fame or glory, and uses his powers for good to help people when he knows he can help them. The whole symbiote story is basically just supposed to be another temptation, like I keep saying, but it's just a way to put Peter Parker in an addiction story without him, you know, snorting lines in an alley with Norman Osborn or something like that. So, final thing here, if Peter does genuinely become Venom, which I doubt it, the writers seem to really care about the source material, it would kind of basically just defeat the purpose of Peter's whole character. And as soon as he becomes Venom and gives into that temptation, let selfishness overcome him, his character basically just dies there. Because he's becoming the monster he's been trying to fight his whole career. So, I'm not saying it's at the realm of possibility, but I know if it does happen, me and a lot of other people will not like this story. This theory is a theory I actually would prefer to the reality. We know Eddie Brock exists in the Insomniac's universe. Fuck, shit. Because of this little Easter egg you can find in one of the backpacks in the first game. I don't know if it's just me, but doesn't it feel weird having Eddie Brock exist and Venom exist and them never meet and never like bond? It seems kind of fucking weird, right? It seems kind of, I don't know if I want to use the word disrespectful because I love Insomniac, but it does seem a little fucked up to just push Eddie to the sideline. I understand that they already have like a plot going with Harry, and it would be kind of difficult to kind of rush Eddie's whole arc in and give him a whole story in one game. Maybe it would be difficult, maybe it wouldn't, I don't know, but we've seen it happen before in movies and it's not ended well. Plus, Harry is set up already to obviously be Venom, and I'll be very, 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 very surprised if anybody else was Venom. Even if Eddie does become Venom at some point, Harry will obviously be it as well. It's pretty clear. If anyone will use the symbiote as Venom, Harry will definitely be one of them. They've already given him the motivation in trailers, hints at his motivation anyway, so it's definitely Harry. The only real issue or problem I have with Venom being Harry Osborn is that we were kind of just straight up lied to at the PlayStation showcase. This is a totally original take on the character. Brian Interhard, I love you. You've done great things. And I'm not even mad that you lied about this. I would rather it be ambiguous and that you kind of played with the fan base a little bit like you did in the first game. But it isn't a completely original take on Venom if it is Harry. Because Harry's been Venom before in Ultimate Spider-Man, the shit show of a shit show. That is that show. I fucking hate that show with every fibre of my being. Not as much as Marvel Spider-Man, the show. That one, I would take out back and personally put a bullet through its fucking... So, all I'm saying is, you can't really trust everything you're hearing about this game in general. It's kind of an Arkham Knight situation to some people, except instead of being incredibly pissed, I think everyone will just be like, oh yeah, it's obviously Harry, because they hinted at that, and it's been made pretty clear. All I'm going to say about this theory, all I have left to say about it anyway, is that just don't believe everything you hear online at the moment, even if it's from the developers, until the game releases and we find out for ourselves. It's really fun to listen to people's theories, and if you want to sound off any of yours in the comments that maybe are new or unique, I might talk about it at some point. It'll be fun to go through them and kind of discuss them. But, you know, just don't believe anything you see until the game releases, basically. I gotta do another clap. Hold on. I'm sorry, the other probably sounds really bad. Gotta sync the fucking audio up. So, I mentioned before that the symbiote is meant to represent temptation and addiction. This is probably pretty obvious to a lot of people who really read the comics and really understand Venom as a character. But the majority of Venom in mainstream media just makes him as this quirky, funny character who's kind of... He just doesn't get it, man. He's just an alien from outer space. He just doesn't... He just wants to eat people. He doesn't like the taste of chicken. He wants to eat human flesh, human bones and guts, dude. And because of this, no one sees him as anything representative or, serious in any way most of the time. The symbiote itself holds so much power, so much so it can replicate anyone's abilities and even weaken people's abilities. That's why Spider-Man can't sense symbiotes, because it weakened his kind of thing, because it kind of bonded with him. So he can't sense symbiotes. He can't sense their attacks coming from him, which is fucking cool as fuck. I hope they use that in the game, by the way. I hope they kind of utilize that as a mechanic. But that's kind of the whole reason Peter uses the suit in the first place, because it's so powerful. It improves his ability to fight crime tenfold. He uses it to the point where it kind of just consumes him, and they bond to the point where he's just not the same anymore. He doesn't wear the classic red and blue spandex that bring hope to a lot of people. Instead, he's wearing this dark, gringy kind of suit, and he's lashing out at people. He's treating his friends like shit, and he's beating the shit out of people, out of criminals, even if they're just robbing a candy bar from a store. He just got bitter.
Well, maybe we can settle this with some fisticuffs.
I kind of hate that I just did that, but I did just do that. And what the fuck are you gonna do about it, huh? What the The symbiote arcs explore a pretty interesting part of superheroes, and that's the kind of intrusive thought of what would happen if I just stopped holding back. Superman talks about this in pretty much anything he's in all the time, how he just has to hold back all the time. Earth is basically just a bunch of paper buildings that he can just fly through and destroy with ease. But he holds back because he feels responsible for the people around him. He wants to help people, not destroy them. That's all the symbiote is. What would happen if a hero lets their rage and grief consume them and they just let it rip? The symbiote's addictive nature changes Peter for the worst. He can get stubble, dress differently, hair dress differently, dance questionably. But at the end of the day, this symbiote is a drug, and that drug becomes a reliance to Peter. They bond to the point where one cannot exist without the other. Except, there's one issue with this relationship. Peter doesn't know a single goddamn thing about this thing, other than it's a suit that gives him incredible powers. But the symbiote, it knows everything about him. And if you don't know, all symbiotes share sort of collective intelligence. So effectively every single symbiote knows everything about Peter Parker. And usually when Peter realizes the suit is alive, or that he's been treating his friends bad because of this suit, he rejects it, breaks their bond, and gets rid of it. Recalling his uncle's words and using them effectively. In every single version of this story, he always realizes, except for a few, he always realizes that he let his power consume him and let it outweigh his responsibility. That's why the relationship between Peter specifically and this symbiote is so interesting. Because everything he does isn't just the symbiote making him evil, it's how he feels and what he really, really wants to do. It's like a family member you just grow to despise for their actions or for their rejection even. And whenever Peter sees somebody else wearing this suit, he obviously understands the danger they're in and the danger they're causing, but he also completely understands why they will want to use it